In the headlines, residents shut down Trademore Estate, protest planned demolition. Maiduguri residents lament Boko Haram attack in Damboa that left 6 persons killed and several others injured. INEC unable to open defense over witness absence at the tribunal. And on the foreign scene, tensions high as Israeli military raid kills 9 Palestinians. Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We start in Abuja as residents of the embattled Trademore Estate in the Lugbe area of the FCT have protested the planned demolition of their buildings, an exercise scheduled to hold on Monday, July 3, 2023 by the Federal Capital Development Authority. At a sit-at-home carried out by the Estate Residents Association led by Adewale Adelaide, chairman of Trademore Estate Phase 3, residents are demanding that the government improve the waterways in order to tackle the perennial flooding in the area instead of demolishing their buildings.
For the first 8 years, there was no flooding. That tells you that something had changed. It's been raining since this place was built. Now, if in 8 years we didn't experience it, then something must have changed when it eventually happened. And what changed was there were further developments in the area, which was not envisaged at the time. And development control did not, in their wisdom, do what is called environmental impact assessment for them to be able to determine which direction the tributaries, the rivers and all of that should go, and the surface water. So, but what they've done is all surface water and rivers have been diverted into Trademore, into the channel going through Trademore, and in the process, flooding Trademore. Trademore is seen as a fenestration for the water that is coming from Piakasa, Lokogoma, Aleita, all of that direction, passes through Trademore and goes into River Park and then into other estates.
In Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, residents are condemning the recent attack of Boko Haram fighters in Damboa local government area of the state, where 6 persons were killed and some others injured. The attack, which according to residents is the first in the last 2 years, will reignite fears among the people. The residents call on the government to redouble its effort in tackling insecurity in the state.
Truly concerned that attack that happened in Damboa. Seriously, we are not happy about it. See how people have been losing their life, being killed every daily, and the government of Nigeria is not taking the right action about it. Please, the government of Nigeria, we are pleading with the government of, we are pleading with Tinubu, we are pleading with our governor, His Excellency Governor Zulum. Please, they should take action about it.
To take care of what is happening in Damboa, it's not only Damboa, it's been happening in some local government. Please, we need our governor at least to help us with security to rescue what is happening in Damboa in other local governments.
This insurgency is still contributing to the lack of marketing, because we are having good coming to us from Damboa, having good coming to us from Goza. Is still contributing to all this. All we hope for and all we are praying for, we are all praying for good government, still praying for good citizens, we are still praying for good Nigeria at large.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has failed to call its first witness in the petition challenging the result of the February 25th presidential election. The presidential election petitions court, led by Justice Haruna Tsammani, had on June 23rd ordered INEC to open their defense on July 3rd following the conclusion of the cases of the Allied People's Movement, the APM, the Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party, PDP. But as they resumed hearing on Monday, counsel to INEC, Abubakar Mahmood, SAN, informed the court that of the 3 witnesses they had planned to call, the first witness could not attend the hearing due to some family issues. He pleaded for an adjournment to Tuesday to enable the witness attend. Consequently, Justice Amani adjourned the petition to Tuesday for the next hearing. A student of the University of Benin, Francis Anuede, 23 years of age, has drowned in a river located in Ekosodin community near the Ogbowo campus of the institution. two students, Samson Kennedy, a 200-level student of biochemistry, and Wilfred Emmanuel, a 500-level student of optometry, who invited the deceased to the river, have been arrested in connection with the incident. The duo, who were said to be neighbors with the deceased, were alleged to have, on June 29th, invited him to Ekosodin River for a swim, where he allegedly drowned. The duo had sought the help of Ekosodin community and vigilante in the area in rescuing the deceased, but he is said to have died before help could reach him. The incident was reported to the Ogbowo police station by the vigilante, and the two students were arrested when blood was discovered on the victim's lips and peeled skin from his neck region. Edo State Police Command spokesperson SP Chidi Nwabuzo says the duo were arrested to help the police in investigating the circumstances leading to his death. Elsewhere, two fishermen from Sao Tome and Principe, Antonio Sabino and Osario Perez, who were lost in the Atlantic Ocean for 5 days, have been rescued in Brass Council area of Bayelsa State in Nigeria. The fishermen, who spoke Portuguese, were said to have been rescued by a trawler fishing in the Gulf of Guinea and handed over to fishermen from Okwama Brass, who took them to shore on Sunday. Locals in Okwama told Daily Trust that the rescued fishermen have been handed over to the divisional police officer in Okwama, CSP Egbebetu. Chairman of the Okwama Kingdom Security Committee, William Sinte, explained that the highly malnourished men were clothed and fed before they were handed over to the police for necessary action. Confirming the incident, the police spokesperson in Delta State, SP Asim Buswat, said the police authorities have established contact with a Coast Guard officer from Sao Tome and Principe and are making concerted effort to reunite the rescued fishermen with their families. Now, farmers in Benue State want government's intervention to boost agricultural production in the state. They fear that if something is not done urgently, there may be low farm yields from this year's harvest. The report.
The Benue farmers who predominantly depend on the rain-fed agricultural practices fear that the cost of agrochemicals and fertilizer is not good for the economy of the state.
For quite a number of years now, government has completely removed her hands on the issue of fertilizer. Before, we were getting some subsidy from our state government. So we were paying like 3,000 to 4,000 naira on a bag of fertilizer. Government will pay the rest. But for 3 years back, farmers are paying everything. A bag of urea is 22,000 naira. A bag of NPK, the one that is good, is 23,000 naira. How much do farmers get to be able to afford these things? So these are the challenges, amongst others, that we're facing.
The farmers said they will continue to explore manual methods, but that will not take agriculture anywhere near what it ought to be. We thank God for the grace to carry on. It is unfortunate that our government is silent in assisting farmers in the state. We will continue to do our best, even though it is not easy. The farmers urge the state government to step in immediately with subsidy initiative for the farmers.
So with a little support, if the governor can support farmers by way of inputs, if we talk of mechanization, it is not something that can be done in 2-3 months. But assist us in getting some chemicals, assist us in getting some of these agro fertilizers and whatever. You have finished with Benue farmers. Many of them are strong enough, they can even use their hoe to perform wonders. And that is what we have been doing. We are feeding this nation with hoes, not machinery. How many people have tractors in Benue? Very few of them. And the ones that they have, they take them to Taraba, where they commercialize them. We are using hoes and we are doing our best. So with little support from government, this is the season. This is the farming season. So if the government can now say fertilizer subsidy, seeds subsidy, and some of these agrochemicals subsidy, by November you will see what will happen in Benue.
Hyacinth Alia, the Benue State governor, has stated at different fora that his administration will focus on agricultural production to uplift the economy of the state. The farmers on their part said they are waiting for interventions as soon as possible to carry on. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
As Nigerians struggle with the impact of the economic policies of the Tinubu administration, the question being asked by many is how citizens will be overwhelmed by the hardship that is accompanying the implementation of the new measures. While experts believe the new administration should resist being dictated to by the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank and Western financial institutions. Here's Kende Amodu with more.
Both President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima embarked on shuttle diplomacy to whip up support for government policies during the Salah holidays. It's early days yet, so many people are still willing to give them the benefit of doubt. They face a huge task, compounded by the fact that in the last 40 years, there's been a drastic reduction in the funding of public housing, public education, and public health institutions.
Who told them to do so? IMF. It has removed money from funding public education. Who told them from doing so? If you go to hospital, even public hospitals have been privatized and outsourced to individuals. So when you go to hospitals, you no longer get drugs free. You must pay for them if you are not in health NHIS. Even the NHIS, there are certain kinds of ailments that you have that it does not cover. So attack on your public resources is as a result of privatization and commercialization. And that is why I told you that whether it's Obasanjo, whether it's all of them read from the same textbook. The IMF is their God that they worship.
Nigeria has consistently not met up with budgetary recommendations by the UN in these crucial sectors. This, experts believe, is why the removal of subsidy and the unified foreign exchange policy is having a huge impact on the ordinary Nigerian.
Where we come from, that the state has responsibility to its citizens because the resources of the country belongs to all its citizens. But the same citizens who fought us when we were fighting privatization does not know that the implication of privatization is that they will pay more and that it will impose a lot of attack on their personal resources. They didn't know. So when we were fighting privatization, when we were fighting IMF, World Bank, and its instructions to our leaders, the people who today are now talking hardship were the ones who were telling us that we should allow the government to do it. So what has...
The remedy is to find a balance between demands from international finance institutions and the welfare of the people.
If you want a break, massive push into funding of public education. The public education has capacity to suck up majority of your citizens and give them education. And when they have proper education, they have a capacity to create wealth for themselves. That's basic. If you intervene in the health sector, if you fund public health, the resources that citizens spend on health can be diverted to improving their lives in another way. If you remove the harsh subsidies and cost of electricity right now, majority of the citizens can invest in cottage issues that can drive the local economy.
The delicate economic situation Nigeria finds itself in may mean tough decisions may have to be taken to bring things under a semblance of normalcy. The people, as usual, will bear the brunt of these decisions, and since a large percentage are already experiencing hardship, the new government must find a balance that would not alienate the people. Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, says it will prosecute Ejikeme Mesoma, a 2023 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination candidate from Anambra State, for, quote, manipulating her result in this year's examination. The board, in a statement on Sunday signed by its spokesperson, Fabian Benjamin, accused Ejikeme Joy Misoma of actually scoring 249 points instead of the 362 marks she claimed. JAMB concluded that Misoma manipulated her UTME result to deceive the public to fraudulently obtain scholarship and other recognitions. JAMB also says the original result of Misoma would be withdrawn, stating that many candidates were parading fake results, having, quote, used some software packages. Already, the candidate was said to have been awarded a 3 million naira scholarship by the founder of Innocent Motors, Innocent Chukwuma. JAMB commended Chukwuma and encouraged many other Nigerians who desire to invest in the future of genuine youngsters to always ensure that they get the authentic result from the JAMB board as done by the Anambra State Ministry of Education. You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Still to come, we take a look at measures to tackle high prevalence of malnutrition. Details coming up ahead.
That's great.
Welcome back to the news update on Trust TV. Thank you very much for staying with us. Here's a quick recap of our top stories at this hour. Residents have shut down Trademore Estate, protesting the planned demolition by the government. And Maiduguri residents lament Boko Haram attack in Damboa that has left 6 persons killed and several others injured. Now, malnutrition remains a high risk in Sokoto State, with over 50,000 children said to be treated in May this year. In this report, Abubakar Imam examines what is responsible for the rising cases and what can be done to address the problem. His report.
One of the reasons for many broken homes in Nigeria is the inability of the heads of such families to provide food for their households. This also has a consequential effect on the growth of their children, with every tendency of affecting their moral upbringing, as they could engage in all sorts of things to get something to eat. According to the United Nations International Children Fund, Nigeria has the second highest burden of stunted children in the world, with a national prevalence rate of 32% of children under 5. UNICEF added that about 2 million children in Nigeria suffer from severe acute malnutrition, but only 2 out of every 10 children affected is currently rich with treatment. Sokoto is one of the states worst hit by the disease. The nutrition specialist of UNICEF in Sokoto field office, Abraham Mahama, said over 50,000 severely malnourished children were admitted in various health facilities being supported by UNICEF in the states.
The admissions that we have been collating from the various health facilities that we support to implement the integrated management of acute malnutrition. We have, as at May, we have been able to admit about 50,000 children.
Trust TV visits one of the facilities at Gagi community in Sokoto North local government area of the state. During the visit, mothers are seen bringing their stunted children for treatment and counseling. The country director of UNICEF, Christian Maduete, who paid an assessment visit to the facility, speaks more on the danger of malnutrition.
Keep some children alive because they're so weak. They are so thin. And it's not just because they're thin, it's because at this age, if they have these complications, their internal organs are affected and their brains do not develop.
Mr. Mahama, however, identifies some of the factors responsible for the disease, which he said need to be addressed in order to have a healthy nation.
Children are not able to get the required food that they are supposed to eat to be able to get the food nutrients that would enable them grow well.
The district head of Gagi, Alhaji Umar Sani Jebbi, commended the agency for supporting the facility in the areas of immunization, malnutrition, toilet facilities, and the provision of modern hand-washing equipment, as well as standard borehole.
Less privileged children that are dying because of many things that are preventable, but we are losing many lives every day.
According to the Walter Duranty, an Anglo-American journalist in the 30s, there is no actual starvation or deaths from starvation, but there is widespread mortality from diseases due to malnutrition. Abubakar Awal Imam reporting for Trust TV.
Now, in other news, the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria says 13 Nigerian pilgrims have died in the course of the 2023 Hajj in Saudi Arabia. The leader of the NACON medical team, Dr. Usman Galadima, said this in Mecca on Sunday during a post-Arafat meeting. Dr. Galadima says 7 pilgrims died before Mashair, while 6 others died during the Mashair. According to him, Oshun and Kaduna states recorded 2 fatalities each, while Plateau, Kaduna, Borno, Yobe, Lagos, and Benue State recorded 1 each. Furthermore, private tour operators recorded 3 casualties. He noted that pilgrims should be encouraged to use the Jamarat train services and that there should be thorough pre-Hajj medical screening with the issuance of a certificate of medical fitness. Dr. Galadima also disclosed that the team detected 3 cases of chickenpox among Nigerian pilgrims during the Mashair, and they have been referred to Saudi hospitals for treatment. The team also had 5 psychiatric cases, 7 heat stroke cases, 12 severe malaria, and 7 cases of diabetes emergencies. Well, still staying with the pilgrimage, as this year's pilgrimage comes to an end, pilgrims from Nasarawa State have been charged to use the opportunity of their current stay in the Holy Land to pray for peace, unity, and progress of Nigeria. The Amir al-Hajj of the state, Aisha Bashir, gave the charge shortly after the conclusion of activities in Makkah. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in this report from Makkah as presented from our studio.
After the conclusion of Hajj activities, pilgrims' attention turned to when to return home, a situation that has become a concern to authorities saddled with the responsibility of taking pilgrims to and fro from the Holy Land. Speaking to Trust Television News, the Nasarawa State Amir al-Hajj, who is also the state chief judge and first female to take up the responsibility, Aisha Bashir, said religious activities in the Holy Land does not end after the pilgrimage, hence the need for the pilgrims not to be eager to return home after the annual Islamic sacrifice by those opportuned by Allah. She explained that the pilgrims should be patient as none of them will be shortchanged in the process of lifting them back home.
As our pilgrims came, we said we have about 5 flights, so no pilgrim is shortchanged. The first flight able to go back, so everybody must spend this allocated number of days in Saudi Arabia. There's nothing we can do to facilitate it. We have to wait for the Saudi Arabian government to open the airspace. And once the airspace is open, because we are the first state to come, we shall be the first state to go back. So I'm urging our pilgrims, they should exercise patience. They should not say because they want to go home. The Kaaba is there for them to continue praying. It's a spiritual experience. It's very expensive. Some of us may never come back by reason of death or lack of opportunity, or Allah has not called us back. So we should maximize this time and not want to rush home. Let us continue praying.
Some of the pilgrims who spoke to Trust TV News appreciated God for the successful pilgrimage and commended Saudi Arabian Authority, NACON, and Nasarawa State Hajj managers for their concerns.
They have tried very well, and I hope, since after the COVID-19, I think this was the second Hajj that they have got about 2 million crowd. And I'm sure next year they will improve more. But the sanitary situation in Mina need to be improve more.
There is very tremendous progress. There is tremendous progress in it. They accommodate us in a very good accommodation there in Mecca, and as well they fed us almost twice.
No date has been fixed for the commencement of airlifting of pilgrims back to Nigeria, but authorities are said to be working towards successful return of pilgrims to their various destinations.
Well, more from the international scene, Israeli forces hit Jenin with airstrikes and ground raids carried out by hundreds of soldiers, killing at least 8 Palestinians. A 9th Palestinian was shot dead by Israeli soldiers near Ramallah. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society called for safe passage to evacuate the wounded and injured. Meanwhile, Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen said Israel is not intending to expand its operations in Jenin to the rest of the occupied West Bank. Tensions have been running high across the occupied West Bank in recent months amid repeated Israeli raids into Palestinian towns. And in sports, Nigeria's women's football team, the Super Falcons, on Sunday flew to Australia to step up their preparations for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. The 2023 Women's World Cup will begin on the 20th of this month, with the Super Falcons of Nigeria alongside South Africa's Bayana Bayana, Morocco's Lioness of Atlas, and Zambia's Copper Queens, the 4 African representing teams for the tournament. The Nigerian team, led by an American coach, Randy Waldrum, are aiming to surpass the nation's best achievement in the competition when the 1999 Super Falcons reached the last 8. They've been engaging in international friendly games in preparation for the event, with their last game being a 3-0 victory over New Zealand. Ahead of the final departure for the country, from the country before the start of the World Cup, NFF hosted the players and the coaching staff at a dinner party in Abuja a day earlier. Well, that's it. You're up to date with the latest news stories at this hour. Many thanks for your time and company. Feel free to follow us across our social media platform and do enjoy our YouTube live stream. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.